So, a very warm welcome to everyone here, and we are very thrilled to have you here for our webinar. I'm Bhargavi, and I handle digital marketing at Fibona Labs, and I'll be your moderator for today. So, to begin with, let me give you a brief introduction about Fibona Labs, what we do as a company. So we're a design-led development company based out of Bangalore, and we build digital experiences for clients across different businesses. And we provide end-to-end experience design, product development, and cloud solutions by deploying in-trend technologies. And to all those of you who are new on the Teams platform, we have muted you all while we're going to be conducting the session. What you can do instead to interact with the speakers is on your far right corner, you have the reactions button, and you could interact with the speakers by, giving them a thumbs up or a celebratory clap if you find anything interesting during the session. This would also keep the speakers' energies high. And we also have the chat feature enabled, so if you have any questions whatsoever throughout the session, feel free to drop your queries on chat, and we will be taking up your questions during the last 15 minutes of our session. So moving on, let me introduce you to our speakers for the session today. We have Madhavan with us. Madhavan is not only our Director of User Experience Design, but he also comes with a massive 17 plus years of experience in the field of design and leadership. And when he's not busy crafting all those digital experiences, you can find him farming. And he's also one of the best storytellers we have on board with us. So hello, Madhavan. Hi.
Hi, hello everyone.
Yeah. And our next speaker, we have Arvind here with us. So Arvind is a UX researcher and he has a doctorate in design. And apart from all the value he adds to our projects, he's also a huge pet lover. So that's Arvind for us. Hello, Arvind.
Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah. So the floor is all yours now, Madhavan. You can take them forward.
Yeah, thanks Bhargavi for the quick introduction. Hello everyone. Greetings to every one of you, and we are more than happy to welcome you to this session. So let's get started with the design sprint. Okay. So as you all know, design sprint as a process in recent years gaining more attention, and even you might have heard that there are entrepreneurs who actually get benefit out of design sprint, right? Maybe that might be the reason it motivate you to attend sessions like this, right? So we go into the detail. We kind of share our take instances from our experiences, and then we take you through the design sprint. Okay. So before we get started, I would like to give little glance about what is the agenda about the design sprint, this particular session, right? So the first is we see about what is a design sprint, and then how to conduct a design sprint, right? And then we can see in day wise how the design sprint can be conducted, and then what is the conclusion of the design sprint we can see. And also Aravind will be kind of covering the cognitive peak which any design sprint attendee will go through, and also the feedback from you after listening to the design sprint, and then obviously the question and answer. We would like to answer your questions, so we take through that Q&A. Okay. So before starting that, I just would like to request you, maybe you can have a pen and paper, maybe you can note down your doubts, and during the Q&A session we would like to answer you all the questions. Okay. Or let's say if you are difficulty in finding the pen and paper, maybe you can feel free to use the chart here. So you can type it here. We will go through all the questions, and we are happy to answer all your question one by one. Okay. So yeah. So we all somehow we are familiar with the design sprint, right? So before getting into the design sprint, I would like to know how much you are familiar with the design sprint. So we have a small poll. Hope it might have reached you by now. Can you please answer that poll? through the chart. Actually, if you go to that, if you see the chart window on the right hand side, you can see that poll and then you can answer it. Yeah, so if you see, I'm just noticing what is the kind of response. If you see, most of you actually having uh, product background, and few of you having the design background, few of you having the product ownership background, right? So all of you, mostly you answered at least 50% answered that, 45% answered that till now, that saying that never participated. I'm aware of it, but never participated in one. But the other 34% saying that just heard of it, right? Yeah, so that's the same. So let us get into the design sprint. Maybe through this, you will be having better learning experience, and also you will be knowing that how the design sprint is going to help you on this, right? So now, as we come to know that most of you are from the product background, and most of you are also from the design background, right? Let us know kind of is good idea. Let's say you are a kind of person, you are working on some company, but you have some idea in back of your mind, right? And then you feel that you want to develop that product idea, and then through that product you want to serve that intended customers, right? So this is almost there in everybody's mind, and then maybe they are waiting for the right opportunity to start their own business, right? But my question to you is that do you think having good idea is enough to have an effective product, right? Or do you think the execution is important in bringing having the effective product? What is important, right, that we should know as a idea generator or the innovator, right? So I would like to, as you all have the product background, I would like to ask you this question. You might be kind of knowing it, or you might be experiencing it, or you already having expert in product development, right? You might be following particular framework, right? So there is one more poll. Can you please answer that? Um, which framework you are familiar with? Yeah, almost 70% of more than 70% of the votes saying that the framework they are familiar is idea, learn, build, and launch. Right, 20 or yeah, almost 20% says that idea, build, launch, and learn. Right. Okay. Let us see what is the framework everybody is using in today's software product design and development process, right? So this is the framework everybody uses in today's world. Like they have an idea, they build that idea, and then they launch it, and then after launching that idea they will learn it again. They might come up with more ideas as part of that same product. Again they will build it and launch it. So it become a cycle, right? I think most of you can understand this process, right? Now imagine that you have an idea, you spend time on building it, and then you are launching it, right? Usually it will take few weeks to few months, even for years, right? If you kind of go through few case studies, you will come to know the real-time experience, which is compared to today world, like there are people who actually spend years to release the product, right? So now, but do you think that is going to help you? What, or let's say imagine that you spend years, okay, you put money, you put your time, and you built that product, and then you launched it. But later, if you come to know that that product is failing, right? The time which you put is wasted, right? The money you put on that idea is wasted, right? So now imagine that if there is another way where you no need to spend more money, you no need to spend more time to build that idea and then launch it and learn from it, right? So but actually there is a way. That is what I'm trying to tell you here. So if you have an idea where you can create a prototype of that idea, and then you can test it with your user base, and then you can learn from it. Actually, you are validating. If by doing it, what you are doing is you are validating whether this product is going to work or not, whether that idea is meaningful, whether it is going to work, whether it is really solving the problem for the end user, right? This is become very evident. But what is it, right? So you are skipping the build and you are skipping the launch, right? You are having that idea, you are learning from that idea, and then you are improving that idea, right? So this cycle is called design sprint. Okay, so but what is the duration, right? That is just a 5 days. But there are situations where we kind of conducted design sprint only for 4 days, even only for 3 days, based on the client need. But in ideal situation, the experts are suggesting to have 5 day process, 5 day as a design sprint, okay, which will help you to answer all your critical business questions, right? And that involves designing, prototyping, and testing with the end customer, right? This is what, in a nutshell, you should know about design sprint. Okay, yeah. So now we understand what is design sprint. Maybe this is the right time to understand when to conduct the design sprint, right? So you might be the kind of person, as I explained to you, you have that product idea, you want to start your business, but you just have an idea, right? So now you want to create that product, right? Before that, this is the right situation to have to test your idea. So before the product creation, or let's say you are already a business owner, you have a product which doing well in the market, but you want to bring new features to want to solve problem in a differently, right? So even that is the right time where you can test your idea through design sprint, right? And for example, let's say you are kind of want to start the business, but you also convinced your friends, maybe old colleagues, who wants to be part of your business as a co-founders, right? But you want to communicate, you want to make sure that everybody understand what you are trying to communicate, right? So basically to bring the alignment within all the co-founders, all the team members, right? Even that is the right time you can use the design sprint to bring the common understanding about the idea of the you are trying to build, right? Yeah, now we have seen what is design sprint, how to when to conduct the design sprint. Now let us dive little deeper and see what each day we are going to do in the design sprint, right? So day one, obviously you take any particular problem, right? What you used to do to understand that, basically you need to understand things, right? If anything, it can be about particular object, it can be about something just in front of you, right? You need to understand it, what is it, right? So even for that idea, you need to understand the challenge, what problem you are trying to solve. And day two, it's all about ideating and sketching the solution, right? So you brought that idea and you want to sketch the solution, right? The third day, obviously we as a human, we have a capability to come up with multiple ideas for a given problem, right? But also we need to know which idea is optimally going to work better for that given problem, right? So that's where we need to spend our third day to decide which path we are planning to take, right? The fourth day is to build the prototype, because we decided which path we are taking, but we need to build that prototype, so that you can take that product as a prototype to the end user and test it in day 5, right? So in a nutshell, this is what, if you go a little deeper, this is the what you are going to do in each day, in the design sprint. Okay. Yeah. So now we need to set the stage. See, we saw that what we have to do on day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4, right? But even if you take any particular even function at your home, right? Do you think the function will get start on its own? No, right? Basically, there is a duration where before the function you get prepared for that function, right? In your family, right? So very similar to that, even in design sprint, where you need to get prepared for the design sprint, whether you are the business owner whom you want to conduct the design sprint for your business, or you are the facilitator, you are going to conduct the design sprint, or you are the one of the team member going to be part of the design sprint, right? You all should get prepared for it, right? So there are three things which is commonly which very important. I would like to bring it to you all here. One is that structured team, right? So there is a leader or decider, and there is a facilitator, and there is a team, right? The decider is kind of, everything is going to be decided by all of us, those who are going to attend the design sprint. But again, there is one person who plays major role, he is called a decider, because when there are situation where two ideas may be competing with each other, same number of votes, right? So decider will have that superpower to decide which idea should go further, right? So he has to play that role. Mainly that CEO of that particular business who plays that role. It is not necessarily that particular day who is going to play that role. It's very important. So the decider will be there, and then the facilitator who kind of taking that as a driver, who is taking all 5 days the team through the process. And the team members, interestingly, here you need to note down very clearly that, see, the multidisciplinary approach as a designer, you all can understand that if you have a multidisciplinary approach, you always come up with good innovations, right? So there are team members who can from the marketing team, who is from the design team, technical team, sales team, even customer experience team, right? So all can be part of the design team. Okay. Now come to the space. So if you, the space, it's a big room with 4 walls, and then in all 4 walls having the big board. And I would call that as a kind of design space or the creative space, where you can go to any corner of the room, and then you can start ideating, you can start putting something on pen and paper, you can take marker, start writing it, putting it on the post-it. Things should be possible. That is what I called the design space or the creative space, right? So we should conduct design sprint in that kind of space. It's really going to help you to be more innovative, more creative in that space. Okay. So now coming to time, as I already told you from the beginning, ideally it is mentioned as a 5 days process. But there are situations where you do it for 3 days, 4 days based on the client need, right? But again, the one thing to note down is that you have to kind of having this from morning 10 to 5, right? The thing is, no device rule we have to follow. So if you are part of that, there are most of the days you cannot have access to your devices, because it's a focused activity, right? You have to focus on the activity rather than playing with your devices. right? So that is also very important, and you will have a proper lunch break and other breaks in between. Okay, so now let me move to, yeah. So as we saw that what is design sprint, how to conduct a design sprint, and what is going to be in each day. Maybe here I would like to test you all. What do you understand from whatever we have seen till now? Okay, so there is a poll. Can you please answer what is going to be in day one? Yeah, almost more everybody understand it neatly, I believe. So it is understand the challenge, right? Yeah, the first day it's going to be understand the challenge. Okay, but how do you understand the challenge? That's again we should ask ourselves, right? So everything starts from questioning, right? I mean, even if you see our mentors or your parents, you always say ask questions why, right? So this is one of the technique. We should ask questions. That's where the design sprint starts. Okay, but there is one important suggestion. We have to start at the end in mind, right? End means for any particular business, if you see end in mind means what they are trying to achieve. Maybe it can be a 6 month down the line, or 1 year down the line, or it can be 3 or 5 years down the line, right? So the facilitator start asking these questions to the decider, and decider actually start telling what they are trying to achieve, what is their idea, what is their end user. I mean, he can share anything what comes to in his mind, but with respect to that particular idea which he is trying to bring out, right? So now uh, during this there are interesting things happen from our experience. I would like to share it here. So as the decider start telling about what he wants to achieve, the other co-founder started cross-questioning him, and there are situations like, "Oh, this is what you mean that day." Right? That's the kind of discussion you start seeing coming up, right? So as a facilitator, we are from the design team, we used to trigger more questions to bring out the discussion, to bring out what they are thinking, right? So all thing will come out, and then there are questioning. So if you see, there are iteration happening through the discussion, and then they come to the common goal, what they are trying to achieve within 6 months to 1 year. I mean, if there are clients where I was working, they were interested in deciding what we can achieve in 1 year, right? There are very early stage founders who wants to be very fast, and they want to decide their goal within 6 months, right? So there is no proper you no need to bound them to stick to 3 years or 1 year. You have to let them go based on their interest. That's how we should do. And now let's say when deciding the goal, right, uh, there is a lot of assumptions, right? But founders won't realize it, but we should help them to bring that out, right? So now there is a second step which is called sprint question, right? 1 minute, let me go there. Yeah, so basically you have to bring all the assumptions out, right? For example, when somebody saying that I want to achieve this, right? how so basically we have to help them to frame the question such a way that the the uncertainty become the curiosity, right? If somebody says that I want to create hassle-free shipment, right? Maybe we need to help them to question the way that how do we gain that trust. Sorry, there is a disturbance on my side, sorry. Yeah, so we have to help the team to bring that frame the questions such a way that all the assumptions can come out. Okay. So now the third activity is mapping. Okay, so if you imagine during the goal setting, there was a discussion what they want to achieve it, and in the next ones during the sprint question, there was discussion around what are the assumptions are they are taking it out, right? If you see, there are two item already upfront in that board, right? We have to keep all 5 days. It should be there. Anybody have any doubt during the design sprint, they should be able to go to that board and then see that what is the goal, what is the sprint question, what are the assumption we made. All that should be there as one part of the board, right? Now the as a third thing, we should start imagining what are the actors going to be there as part of the system and what they actually want to achieve it, right? For example, if you take any particular logistic domain, we worked on logistic, we worked on fintech, and we worked on healthcare, right? So if you take that example of logistic, basically the object or the object which is getting manufactured has to move from point A to B, right? And there is someone called manufacturer, there is someone called dispatch manager, there is someone called what is that truck owners, right? All has to come together as part of the system where the manufacturer wants to get move the object from manufacturing unit to the warehouse, that intended warehouse, right? So now you have to start putting the actors on the left and then the end goal on the right, and then by discussing things, you can try to bring the in the internal steps, which is initially it is hidden. Maybe as you start talking, as you rub the board and start putting the middle steps, then you can see that the map is getting bigger and bigger, the flow become very evident and in front of your eyes. All right, so this is how you have to start creating the map as the discussion goes. The facilitator, the other designer who part of the design sprint, who can start putting things on the board, right? Even in my experience, what happened, there are co-founders who actually sitting and questioning each other, discussing things. As we start putting the map on the board, I see them coming to the board and standing in front of them, and they also started helping, rubbing things and writing the steps between the other activities, right? So this is how that the team will get involved. So that is where I was telling that that kind of space is very important to conduct a design sprint, right? So now this is what used to happen in the first half of the day one, and in the second half of the day one is it's a lightning talk, right? So now we have to ask decider, other team members, the expert from different department, right? We have to ask them to talk about what is that their business, what they want to achieve it. Already they have done portion of it during the goal setting and sprint questions, right? So also we have to interview them, we have to ask more questions, right? And then everybody will start taking notes, right? Each member given a 15 minutes, right? And then we have to take a notes, and we have to write it in the form of how might be, right? So how might be, I hope, I'm thinking that most of you know. If you don't know, nothing to worry, it's a very small tool. Maybe if you practice 1 or 2 times, right, you will get that knack how to write very easily, right? So if you see this example here, right? So how might we provide a list of available trucks in case if you remember that truck, the logistic client we work for, this is how we start writing it, right? So but here also the reason why we are using this how might we tool, right? So as the decider or the team members, the experts start giving the lightning tasks, we are making a note, right? But why we as a human, we have a tendency to write like a sentence, right? But if we kind of write it in this format, right, you are actually noting down the problem as a opportunities. That is what the tool is claiming, and we also experienced it. So it's a very nice tool to use. So I would suggest, maybe even if, let's say, if you are going for the particular design sprint, I would like suggest you to practice how to write how might we. Okay, so I'm going next. So now that all how might be put it in on a board, and then it's like you can see kind of imagine that there are 10 members attending the design sprint, each one having 10 nodes, right? Then it become 100 nodes, right? So you can see that big board, all 100 post-its are there. And then I hope most, as you all having the design background, the product background, you might be knowing the value of affinity mapping, right? So now if you start looking at the how might we, you can see that commonality between certain how might we. So then now you can segregate it, you can group it, and then you can align it in the board. Now take that grouped how might we, and then paste it in the on top of the map, right? Like say there is a map, and then you take it and go and put it on the um, map, right? So now you can see there are certain map which has uh, which kind of having more how might we. Now actually each members, right, have given a 2 votes, and then the decider given a 3 votes, right? Now we can go to that map which has that how might be. There you can kind of vote which you feel it is more meaningful to solve the problem or solve the intended problem, right? So now you decide the path. Basically somebody might be thinking that this particular app, it's mainly for the manufacturers, right? The problem which we are solving mainly for the manufacturer. Or somebody might be thinking that we are doing for the warehouse manager, right? But I finally, if you see, the outcome is actually it is for the dispatch manager. So everybody felt that the problem listed in that, the how might be listed in that particular path, it's important to solve, right? So that is the kind of our focus should go, right? This is how the final target is decided, right? So if you see on day 1, right, so this is a few of the snapshots. For we have done it for a few clients, this for logistic, and this is for fintech, and there are few things which is more for logistic, right? So these are the snapshot. And but finally at the day 1, end of the day 1, if you see what you have in your hand or what is there in the whiteboard of that space, right? You have a goal, you have a sprint question, and you have a map, and you have the final target also, what we are going to focus, right? This is what we will achieve in day 1. Okay, yeah. So as we saw already, on day 2, we are going to kind of work on sketching. Okay, but sketching, let's say if I'm giving pen and paper to you, do you think you can able to draw? Maybe you feel you are very confident on you might be feeling that you can draw, right? Because you might be coming from the design background, or you might be coming from the product background, where one or the other way you were doing it, right? But imagine that the people who are attending the design sprint, maybe they might feel little different, right? So that's where we have designer as part of the session. They can help them in sketching also, but we always encourage them to sketch. But we can take them gradually to kind of, yeah, even I can sketch kind of mindset, where in the morning, the second day morning, we have that lightning demos. Lightning demo is nothing but we as a human, we kind of using in day-to-day life, we are using so much of different products from different domain. We get inspired from that idea, right? Hey, sometimes you might feel, hey, this feature is good, right? So you have to bring those kind of ideas, and you have to present that idea to other members in the design sprint, right? Everybody will note down. So if you see everybody started presenting one idea for 3 minutes, then it's like 10 ideas been discussed, 10 interesting idea has been discussed, right? So now that is what happened in the day one. So now when going to day two first half, so if you go to the day two second half, where you are kind of having problems, you get inspired from new ideas, right? Now you are in a right time to sketch it out, the idea which comes to your mind, right? So but it's a 4-step process. Maybe I can quickly explain how to do so, right? So now you have to take a note, because how might be is written by other team members also. You need to understand better, and it also you are in the second half, right? You have to recollect things. So you go to that map where you can try to understand what is the how might be. You can focus on that final target, right? And then you gather the information for 20 minutes, and then you start doodling things whatever comes to your mind for 20 minutes. Okay, but the next 8 minutes, which is little crazy, so that's what it's called as a crazy eight, right? Where you have to kind of fold your A4 sheet paper into 8 pieces and start putting things whatever comes to your mind. But same idea, but different rabbit variation, 8 different variations, right? So it can be 8 different ideas, right? So now then you take one idea from that, and then in the next 10 minutes you kind of uh, create that sketch, right? So that sketch, the point to note down here is, you cannot just create one page and then say that this is where this is my idea, right? You have to kind of explain that flow also. Maybe at least we should have 3 different screens. Even it is mentioned here in this sketch, right? You have to have 3 screens minimum, where the starting screen is very important, where to start, where to end, and what is the flow which the user will go through, right? That kind of sketch is going to help you, right, the next day, for the next day, right? So you should come up with that kind of sketch. Okay. Now at the end of the day, you collect all the sketch. Okay, and this is the kind of sketching activity we have done for our clients. And yeah, so what you will be having at the end of the day, you will be having mostly 10 to 12 solution sketches, right? You, as a facilitator, we used to collect all the sketch, and then we just close it upside down, because we don't want anybody to see that sketch. Okay, so yeah, so again, there is one more poll. So what do you do with the idea after the ideation phase? Can you please answer the poll? Yeah, so as you all answered, we are going to see how we can select the idea, right? Okay, so now if you imagine correctly, on day 2, we have 10 to 12 solution sketches and we kept it, right? So before everybody reaches to the on day 3, we as a designers, the facilitator, we used to go little earlier, and then we used to keep all the ideas pasted on the board, right? It's like art museum. You can imagine you are going into the art museum, and then the wall full of ideas with full of arts with the proper distance, right? The same way we keep the sketches. Okay, and now everybody kind of come given the bunch of uh, votes, and they can go take that votes. Usually it's a small dots where everybody can take that votes and go there, go to that particular uh, sketch, and then they can vote it wherever, whichever idea way they like it. Even they can vote more than 2, more than 3 as well, based on how deep they understand that solution, and how they get inspired, or how they feel that that solution is important to the given problem, right? So, and then the facilitator actually critique each idea, where everybody go there, stand in front of that particular sketch, and then he explained things about that idea, the good thing about that idea. Maybe if there are some question, maybe he will openly tell, this I understand, or maybe this I'm not understanding, right? And then let's say if some team members have some question about that idea, maybe they can note down that, they can write it in the note, post it, and then put it on below that sketch, right? So now facilitator will talk, other members will ask questions, right? But now maybe at the last, not maybe, I mean, I'm sorry for that. So the creator is given a chance to explain in case if there are more questions which something may not be understandable by others. So the creator can also contribute at the end. That is what used to happen. So now, like, everybody voted. Now that super vote comes to the main play, where the decider who actually comes and he will select ideas. He can select one idea, or he can select multiple ideas. So that's where he finally come in. Let's say if there are 3 ideas is selected, the other ideas, it's not like we are going to eliminate that idea. Basically, we are keeping that idea. Maybe we will, with a low priority, we will kind of see it later. But on priority, these are the ideas which is got selected during the super vote, the decider who voted for this, and these are the idea which we are taking it forward. Okay. So now the idea we have finalized, which idea we are taking it forward, right? And the next step is to storyboarding things, right? So there are kind of storyboarding in the sense we have to kind of take the scenario is kind of converting into the form of small screen, right? Where the user starting from here, he click on this particular button, he goes here, right? And then he might be doing filling form or doing something, and then he's submitting it and coming out. So this kind of typical flow you can imagine, right? But I'm telling in the form of software flow. It can be kind of very generic flow like this, right? But the starting and then the ending, which are very important, where he starts, what kind of flow he is going through, and where he is ending. That this storyboard, it's very important because it's actually kind of depicts the user journey, right? And the detailed storyboard actually going to help us to have a better prototyping for tomorrow, right? So these are the few things where we vote, we use that voting and selecting the final ideas or the concept to discuss. This are few of the references for you. And yeah, so what do we have at the end of the day 3, right? It's all about 1 or 2 storyboard, right? So it can be one or it can be two, it can be three also. There is nothing wrong in it, right? It's all be decided uh, to take it forward because it makes more meaning to the final target which we selected on the day one, right? Okay, so now let's go to the day four. So day four is build the prototype, right? So you have idea, everything is there. Now we need to create a prototype, and you know why we are creating the prototype, right? Because our users are waiting. So we have to take that idea to the end user. So we are creating the prototype, right? So, but here there is one important thing I would like to mention to you, all of you. Yeah. So here what I would like to mention is that you have to define a role for your team members, right? See, somebody can play a role of uh, stitcher, somebody can play a role of a creator, somebody can play a role of writer, somebody can play a role of asset provider, and then interviewer also, right? The reason to assign the role, right? The reason to assign the role is, let's say if you are saying that, hey, Madhavan, you are the one who is going to take interview tomorrow, right? Then I should be very conscious. Oh, I have to see the prototype very properly. Which flow it is, what flow, which flow, how many screens are there, right? Because I am the one who is going to take the prototype, right? And also it is like we are dividing the work and start doing it. The guy who is acting for creating the component, right? His work is he just keep doing the components, right? The stitcher will take all the components, he create the layout, and then he come up with the pages, right? And then content writer who actually kind of write the content, right? And the provider who actually take images. Basically he is a asset provider, he takes images from different resources and then he is collecting and giving it to the team so they can use as part of the product, as part of the prototype, right? So the prototype, again, we have to create such a way that it looks near to the final product to the end user, right? It's not kind of working prototype, but it's a kind of click-through prototype where they can understand the flow and achieve what they want to achieve, right? So if you see, we kind of there are so many suggestions, but we as a designer, we always feel that Adobe XD or Figma, or even if you, for the case like there are even some we have used PPT and we have used the MacBook presentation, right? We Keynote, right? Yeah, we have used Keynote in some thing. So it's all good tool where you can quickly create the prototype, right? So we always feel happy to use Figma or the XD, and this is the kind of prototype we create where you can, while doing the prototype itself, you can see how it is going to look in your mobile, in case if it is mobile first design, right? Yeah. So now this is what we do in day 4, but the one important thing, at the end of the day, you have to run a try, you have to do a trial run, because the interviewer who is taking the product prototype to the end user tomorrow, right? So he has to have a trial run. He has to see whether it is working properly or not. If there are some difficulties found, maybe the team can sit together and then quickly fix them, right? So the trial run is very important. Yeah. So now let me ask you this question. There is another poll. So how many users are required to test a prototype? Because I feel it is little kind of very subjective question, but it's important to know. So can you please answer the poll? Yeah, so as most of you answered, it's just a 5. Yes, actually, On day 5, we are going to test the prototype, but we need to bring the end user. But how many end user we have to bring, right? So obviously, as you all answer, 5 to 6 users is more than enough to identify 80% of the problem in an interface, right? This is the real-time survey. The research says that 5 user is more than enough, 5 to 6 users are more than enough. So we go with that guideline, right? So on the day 5, we 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 invite end user to our place, where it's a kind of 2-room approach, where one room where interviewer and the end user will sit inside. The interviewer give the prototype, explain the use, the flow, explain the use cases, and then he will ask him to perform it, and he will also observe and take notes. At the same time, the other sprint members will note down from the other room, and also they will also make a note, right? So it's like, if you consider the day 5, right, every 1 hour, 5 hours will happen, and the interview used to happen. After each and every kind of interviews, we have a break, right? In that break, basically, the sprint members who actually observing and taking notes, they will also record their findings. Okay, so while recording that findings, you can actually start seeing that there is a kind of pattern is forming out of it, right? So that's important to know. And so this is the kind of prototype we used to give it to them and ask them to test it out. And yeah, so if you see at the day 5, where you will have the test results in the form of chart, like everybody note down their findings, and it will tell you very clearly what successfully come out, and where we went wrong, what might be the reason behind it, right? You will be having the entire data with you in your hand, right? So with that, we will be having the small debrief session, right, where our findings, everything, and it was discussed along with the decider, other business owners who is part of that design sprint, and then we leave for the day. Okay, but the facilitator who conduct the design sprint, who actually work on in detailed report, okay, after the design sprint, and he will come back, and then he will give it to the decider or the business owner, maybe 2 to 3 days down the line. Okay, so as a common conclusion, what kind of outcome can be there as part of design sprint is that, so there can be a big win where everything went well, or there can be some flawed success where something is working, maybe something didn't work, maybe, but we are having a lot of learning, right? So we can kind of improve on that existing idea. Okay, and the third option, obviously, it's a efficient failure. Nothing worked out, that idea didn't work out very well, but obviously you have a lot of learning that is definitely going to help you to come up with a new idea for the problem which you are trying to solve. Okay, so now Aravind will take you through the cognitive peak with respect to the design sprint. Aravind, please, the stage
Yeah,
is yours.
yeah. Thank you, Madhavan, and greetings to all of you. So to start with, I mean, I'm one like you people as well. Okay, so I didn't know about design sprint, and then I had been scourging for data or like information about it, and then same as like what you all are doing, I had been attending webinars like this, and then you have cartloads of videos that you get from the YouTube. So and then of course there are some what to say free courses available as well. So I'd been taking all of them. Okay. So what I find from there is that most of them say webinars especially say that like we did this. I mean you also do this, and then in the videos like what you do is like they are more instructions about actions, like okay, on this day this is how you should take notes, this is how you should write HMWs, or like this is how you should conduct interviews. Okay, but then when you look deeper, or like when you take the book by Knapp and then start reading it, like there is a different picture that slowly emerges. So that is what like I just wanted to brush up on here, because I have a lot of questions, and I thought like I'll share it with you folks so that we could all collectively address it as the practice of design sprint gathers lot more momentum and then becomes a what, like epitome of design practice or whatever that that it might want to become. Okay, so the thing that comes out is that it is a collective cognitive act. Okay, few minds are coming in, and then they are thinking about a solution, and then they are discussing a solution, deliberating about it, and then they are trying to act upon their thought. Okay, so these actions have a executive function or a deep thought behind it. Okay, so that one is what that we have to pay a bit more attention to. Okay, so here like as much as any other endeavor for the team, every new problem is a first for them. Okay, and then to address this problem, the past experiences of the team are brought to the fore. Okay, so here like when you look into it deeper into the book, there are some terms like these that come up, like short-term memory, and then spatial memory, then attention, and then focus. So when you put all this together, a proper analogy or an equal metaphor would be something similar to a doctor's team or a medical team doing a very intensive operation for like a few hours in the ICU. Okay, everyone does their role, brings up all their experience that they can, and then if any surprises come up, they try to encounter it with their experience or like find new ways of thinking it. Okay, new ways of addressing it. Okay, so here like what happens is, of course the operation will be successful, and then the patient will of course get cured, his problem will be addressed, his or her problem will be addressed, and then there is a lot of learning that happens also. Okay, so one other memory that the book doesn't talk about is episodic memory. In the sense, experiential memories get formed and autobiographical memories also get formed, which is going to help the designer or the whole team to address future problems as well. Okay, so because as you can see, the aim of this whole sprint is to end up with learnings. You start with a challenge, you try to address it, and then you end with learning. So these episodic memories that are getting formed may be equivalent to the learning that each of the team member who is going to go out of it will be going out with a lot of episodic memories. Okay, so on that way, like it is a wonderful what is a learning experience. Okay, so but there is another side to it which gave rise to my questions, which we will see. Madhavan, can you go to the next slide, please? And to a possible theory, cognitive theory that you can look for is being explained is being explained well by the flow theory put forward by Csikszentmihalyi. Okay, so a brief is that like he went about searching for the thinking process and then the work schedule and work process of many people who had created long lasting findings that are useful for humanity. Okay, he went and then spoke to especially Nobel laureates and people who are like supposed to be very creative people who had come up with earth shattering or like very important findings. Okay, so what he says is that they get into a flow state, and what is that flow state is, I mean, they are working on a problem, and then if they find it to be very challenging, they endeavor to increase their skills. And then, as they increase their skills, the problem becomes manageable. They are able to address it. So obviously, the challenge is decreases, and then now they get into less demanding skills. Again, like they encounter like when they grow up and when they go on addressing the problem, again the challenge is going to increase. They are getting into this cycle. Okay, so this cycle is what he calls it as flow state, because during this flow state, what would happen is they might get bored, or they're keeping on shifting between boredom and then anxiety. Okay, so it is a very thin line between these two. Okay, so what is happening when they are in flow state is they might not even know the passage of time. Okay, so time passes, they may not know, but then they are in a period of utter boredom, or they might be in a period of total focus. Okay, so because of which they might be in a low arousal state or in a high arousal state. And then this is the skill versus challenge map that you see. Okay, so if you look at the sprint team, they are undergoing this stuff. Okay, so but Csikszentmihalyi, this Csikszentmihalyi says that all these people took a lot of time, okay, almost their entire lifetime to create what they had done, and then they get into these states then and there, maybe in the lab for some time and out of it. Okay, but if you look at what the design sprint team does, is that okay, the what the design team does is that it remains in this particular state for a 5-day period. Okay, so that is something that like we need to discuss about, or we should be concerned about. Okay, so we'll come back to that. Madhavan, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so now on the other side, imagine that you are going on an evening walk, or you are visiting a park, or let's say like you are visiting a waterfall with your family, and then you are enjoying the scenery and then coming back. So, or maybe okay, or maybe you are going to a birthday party. So, for example, your visit to the waterfall, I mean, you might feel the mist, okay, that is coming across. Then you might be able to smell the salty water or like whatever water hitting your nose, and then there might be ferns, and then all the stuff that get the green smell, the smell of this wet soil, and then the rainbow that the waterfall might create. So it is a multi-sensory experience that is hitting you. Okay, so you would be lost in all of it. But what would happen is you would be shifting attention. Okay, you would be shifting attention from one avenue to the other. Okay, from one modality to the other. That is happening. And then again, like when you're getting into a birthday party, for example, you will suddenly meet your friend, and then you'll be recollecting all your childhood memories. And then like a cake would be cut, and then like you'll be tasting it. Your food buds are like your taste buds are being induced, and then suddenly someone will burst a sparkle which is falling on all of you. There will be music playing. Okay, so attention avenues are constantly shifting. Okay, so in that case, you are shifting between contexts. Okay, so on the one, like you're smelling soil, and then the other, like you're looking at the waterfall. Likewise here, like you are tasting cake, and then the other side, like you are doing, you're meeting your friend. So the context is constantly shifting. Okay, so but whereas like if you see the design sprint thing, the context is not shifting more or less. Like it is always within that particular domain. Okay, so there are two cases wherein people are allowed to delve outside. That is during lightning demos before you on day 2 before you start sketching. Okay, sketching your solutions. So that is when you're allowed to open up. And then the author also claims like when one is allowed to sketch, he's doing a job alone. Okay, so it is more or less working alone but together. But then he's working alone, and then he's saying that he will have a lot of time to ruminate and then come up with solutions on his own. Okay, so as compared to that, here it is all pretty open. And then here also learning happens. Here also episodic memory gets created. Okay, so but then here it is rich experience that is being coming out. Okay, and also remember, see, for example, like those of you who had played cricket or any game, in your practice sessions, like when you are not towards a goal, you would be coming up with the bizarre of performance, and then you'll be like performing beautifully there on the practice sessions. Okay, but like when you go out and then when you are starting to work, I mean, it becomes a very time constraint and goal oriented stuff. You might not do the same shot, or you might not play the same dribble that you did on your practice, and then you might come back and then you might rue saying that, yeah, I was able to do the same shot here far better than I did on the ground. Okay, so this we have to remember. All right, so now maybe Madhavan, we'll go to the next slide. Yeah, there should be a trade-off. I mean, it has been proven in research that people are more creative in stress-free situations. They are able to make a lot of connections. They're able to come up with a lot of solutions, and in a situation where there is not enough when the situation is stress free. Okay, as I was telling you, like long lasting discoveries have been made during idle musings, when people are just walking, all their past experience suddenly hook up, and then they come up with some kind of observations or solutions that are like extremely beautiful, extremely what is say focused, and extremely useful. Okay, so in that case, whatever design sprint comes up, is that the best solution that has been built? Like, we need to question it. I'm not sure, I haven't practiced it. It might be, but time will tell. Okay, so then, is the learning very comprehensive and sustainable? I mean, obviously, like as you can see, it is an expert, it is a playground of experts. Even though like you collect team from the length and breadth of the organization, like each one is like, of course, coming up with their expert views. Okay, so that is what we are trying to churn out by keeping attention and focus, correct? No, so when you're attending to it, when you're in focused attention, what happens is you kind of invoke all the information, only those information that are needed for the task. All the extraneous stuff is being cut. That is what the author also emphasizes, wherein all extraneous information should be pruned away so that attention is on. So if that is the case, is the learning comprehensive, and then is it sustainable also? Like that we need to question. Okay, so what kind of, the whole exercise is about moving from abstract to concrete, isn't it? So there is a goal, we start with the end. So the decider or the company owner or whomever, the visionary, comes with a vision, and then he says, okay, this is what I want to come up with. For example, if you take Walt Disney, he for his theme parks, he said like, I wanted to be the cleanest that people have ever experienced. Okay, then came dustbins, then came all those cleaning apparatus that is in force today. Okay, so are we kind of having a very wide and then deep concrete base for the abstract that we have? Okay, these are all questions, but anyway, it's still a trade-off. Okay, in a business environment wherein the time to market is a primordial concern. Like, you can't keep on going on like a Nobel Prize laureate coming, waiting for like years together. But still, like, that doesn't mean that you shrink the whole time and then you finish it off in very quick time. Okay, so we have to think about it. So there should be a trade-off, and then I mean, we all designers should what to say, throw our thought into it and then discuss further, and then maybe like we can have a staggered sprint. Okay, I mean, maybe that might be the answer. So only time will tell. I'll finish off with that. I mean, please ponder on all this stuff. Okay, so please send us your valuable feedback also. Okay, and then we are like very eager to connect, because to address all these questions that we have, and then we do see like a lot of questions have come up as well. So we at Fibona Labs are like always ready to take up these questions and then work with you and then take it forward. Okay, so that is one thing. And the other thing is like on my behalf, and then on Madhavan's behalf, we would like to thank our team inside Fibona Lab, who are like very ready to help us review. Okay, help us review the contents. And then a huge shout out to Bhargavi and then Arjun for helping us come up with this slide and then setting this. Okay, thanks a lot then. I think like we can open it up for question and answers now.
Yeah, so there is a poll on the chart. Can you please give your feedback in that poll? Bhargavi might have shared this. Can you all please give feedback in that form? And yeah, so after the feedback, before starting the question and answer, there is one more poll where we would like to know from you all what can be our next webinar topic, right? So there is one more poll. Please go to the chat and answer the question, answer the poll, and we are here to answer all your questions. So you can start asking questions one after the other. If you want to talk, maybe you can kind of raise your hand. Bhargavi will allow you to talk.
Hi,
Yes.
Madhavan. So I've unmuted Ash and Divya Jyoti. So they can also unmute themselves and post their questions.
Yeah. So as plus Divya Jyoti, please go ahead, unmute yourself, and then you can start asking your questions.
Uh, Thanks, Madhavan, for the presentation. It was really nice. And thanks to Aravind also. So my question is, when you go for a product revamp, right, which the product is already existing and they have like a couple of, they have their own model. And then when you're asked to revamp it and check for the user flow and, optimize the entire software. So what is the best solution, like design process would be like?
Yeah. So you mean to say it's a redesign exercise or redesign work, right? Where
Yeah, it's a
you
redesign work, not just when it comes to the UI, but you also have to redesign the UX part of it. You need to check all the workflow, where else you can optimize everything.
Yeah, so even whether it is redesign or even if you kind of starting a new project, right? You are always, you as a designer, you are always going to kind of defining the future scenario, how that experience, the new experience is going to be, right? Right. So I would suggest we have follow the design process. We as a designer, we actually follow the design process. We kind of go to the end user, right? I hope we are familiar with the UX process. Like we start from the research, analysis, design, and development, right? So
Yes. Yes.
you can take that typical process. Definitely, you can kind of define the better future scenarios. But
Mm.
even if you want to kind of innovate faster, or you want to solve that faster, and you want to test it out whether this is going to work it or not, you
Yeah.
can go for the design sprint, that like 5 day intensive focused design process which you are going to follow, and then you are going to tell whether that is going to work or not as a designer.
So,
So
so
it's all.
the same process which we can use.
Yeah, yeah. So see, if you see design sprint, it's nothing but if you see the design process, take the design process, put it into each day, then it become a design sprint. If you see, if you kind of see in that perspective,
Okay.
right?
So,
Because they,
Madhavan, sorry.
sorry, yeah,
Yeah,
Arvind.
this is Arvind here. Yeah, so Divya Jyoti, another question to ask is why do they want to revamp? Revamp can happen because of two reasons, isn't it? Because of the underlying change in technology, the technology becoming obsolete, and then like you need to replace it with the new stuff, which we had done it in Fibona Labs for some clients, wherein like design team went and then they were able to realize that what needs is a churn in the back end. So then we sent our team to affect that particular change. Okay, so that is one aspect of it. And if it is UX, then personally I believe that it is almost a rechurn of the entire flow, isn't it? Like if you're going to
Yes.
fix it here and there. So more or
Yes.
less, as I was telling you, every new instance is a new problem. So more or less, like you can start with the end in sight, and then maybe, like as Madhavan is saying, like you can uh, commit it to a design sprint as well.
Okay.
So does that answer your question?
Yes. Yes.
Hi, Arvind, Madhavan. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. My name is Ashutosh. I was just curious about the second last slide that the Madhavan presented. I think the day 5, where you were showing like a grid, and the grid had some kind of colors in it. Could you, if it is possible, can you just spend a minute to talk about that? I felt a little rushed there. Yes, this one. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so for example, let's say if you see that X column and that Y axis, right? So X, the Y, I mean, in the row, it is like the features of that idea which we have come up with, right? Whether it's a login flow, or it's a selection, or it's a buying experience, or it's a kind of buy experience, right? It's like we the entire flow is divided into smaller cases, and then we are kind of wanted to know whether that is doing good or not. If you see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the column, which is actually the observers who actually along with the interviewer who is observing it, right? So they are kind
So
of
okay, so the color coding, is it like the emotion? So is this like a empathy map?
So, Madhavan, can I?
yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, Ashutosh, I mean, this is just a bare representation of what actually happens. Okay. So, as Madhavan is saying, your storyboard will depict the what is a user journey across a particular product. Okay. So then obviously your prototype will reflect it. So there might be a login session or onboarding thing, and then like there might be a selection or something. I mean, this is just to say that take it as an example of a e-commerce site. Okay, so he selects it and then he buys it and then he says he finishes it up. Okay, so those are the parts of it, and then on top of it, what you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the users. Okay, so these each grid is being filled by the team member who is watching the process of testing from another room through a video through a video streaming. Okay, so there will be another a room wherein the interviewer will be giving this prototype to be tested, and then he'll be asking questions and he'll be prompting the user to go about the business. Okay, so all this will be streamed across in a video screen, and then the whole team would sit and watch it. Okay, so when they are watching it, what happens is for user one, like they would write notes. Okay, for login, like what all did they notice, and then for selection, like what all did they notice in the user one, and then when he's logging off, like what did he use, so on and so forth. Okay, so this happens for all the for all the users. So as Madhavan was saying, like you have a schedule on day 5 for all the users. Okay, 5 users, 1 hour testing of each of them, followed by a break of 5 minutes. Sorry, half an hour break. So it is during that break what happens, like the all the people will go and then stick their observations onto the whiteboard. Okay, so here like we had just used color coding. Okay, to make it easier for us to explain. It may not be color actually. Like what we are representing is like maybe green might be yes, red might be no, and then yellow might be maybe. Okay, so what we wanted to emphasize here is that you see a pattern emerging out of all these write-ups that you put up. For example, if it is login, like user 1 and then user 5 had liked it, and then these 4 are the grid that has come up from four observers. Okay, so you could see the patterns that are emerging. The only place where they are differing is like where the purple patch is. Okay, so we are looking for these patterns, correct? They might be good or they might be bad or they might be so-so. Okay, so the good ones, like of course, like you take it up and then you quote it and then you go ahead with it, and then the bad ones, like you try to improve it. So I mean, it may not be a case wherein like you will see patterns up front and then you see a perfect pattern, but still like if your pattern is absolutely true for all the people, then it is an epic win. Okay, so but that seldom happens. Obviously, like you will have points to improve, points to throw off. Okay, so that's what this grid means. So you have any questions?
No, no, that was great. Thank you so much. Yeah, that explains.
All
Yeah.
right, yeah, thank you.
Bhargavi, is there anybody else? Any questions? Let me also check.
Yeah, in the
Any of
meantime,
you?
sorry, yeah, I mean there were questions. No, I mean that the graph is in fact from Six and Mehli's flow book. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say. I saw someone setting up a question.
We have Ashutosh who's raised his hand. I've enabled his mic.
Hello.
Yeah, hello, Ashutosh.
Hello, Madhavan sir and Arvind sir. First of all, I would like to say it was really It was really good masterclass. I learned a lot. Thank you so much for this. And
Thank you.
second thing I would like to ask, you mentioned that design sprint happens for 5 days, right?
Yeah.
So does it So is it we can it happens only for that duration only, or it changes due to the maybe the duration of project, or maybe what type of project you are working on, or is it fixed for 5 days for all the projects?
No. There are situations where the client wants to have only the alignment, right? So in that case, we conducted only the first 3-day workshop, right? So because their ultimate aim is to bring that alignment within the team, right? For to have that alignment within the team, having the first 3 days, right? Like understand, ideate, and decide. Only these 3 days is more than enough, right? For them, we have conducted only 3-day design sprint, and there are clients who actually don't have 5 days available, right? So they were saying that, yeah, only 4 days we have, can you kind of conduct the design sprint? Then we kind of made that 5 day into 4 days, and then we conducted the design sprint for them as well. So you have to kind of find the right balance. I feel if you work closer to the client, and then you can understand what is their expectation for that particular expectation, how many days we can spend, potentially we can identify very easily, and then we can go ahead with that. So does that answer your question, Ashutosh?
Yeah, I got answer. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so anybody have any more questions? Feel free to ask us. And even if you kind of want to type, feel free to type it on the chat. We would like to answer your questions. And also, in case if you want to connect with future, want to share ideas, have queries, feel free with us. Through maybe through you can do that. But
Yes, Madhavan?
yeah, I'm just asking you, have we done, or do we have anybody asking, anybody raising the hand and asking for questions?
There's no one that's raised their hand now.
Yeah.
But I guess we've addressed most of the questions that were put up on chat. If any of you have any more questions, you can still raise your hands or you can drop it on chat. We'll take more questions if you have any more questions.
Yeah, hi. One sort of unrelated question, but do you guys have like any? Do you guys have any like dashboard design 101 kind of a class planned anytime soon?
So are you asking whether you have designed any dashboard, or you are asking for some dashboard design to show it here? I'm not.
No, not for today. Like, is there a master class planned eventually for dashboard designing and like best practices or 101 for dashboard design?
Definitely, we can consider your suggestion, and if everything comes together, we can have it on dashboard as well. I'm sorry if I'm not knowing your name. So can you?
This is the other Ashutosh. So yeah,
Yeah,
no problem. I'll connect with you guys offline. Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
yeah. Thanks, Ashutosh, for your question. Yeah, definitely we will. We can have a separate session on dashboard designing for dashboard. Thanks for asking, Ashutosh. Yeah.
Madhavan, we have Mehak. She's raised her hand. So I've enabled your mic, Mehak.
Yeah, hello, Meha. Meha, right? Is that
Mehak.
what? Mehak? Please go ahead, Mehak. You can unmute and you can ask your question.
So, do you suggest me as a fresher to do like unpaid internships right now as a UX designer?
Yeah. So, can you repeat your question? I'm not getting it very clearly.
So, do you suggest me as a fresher? I mean, I have 1 year of experience, but do you suggest me to be doing an unpaid internship right now?
So it's all about what do you want to learn, where do you feel more happiness, right? Like if you want to learn something, that's where you want to work. That's what you want to do. Then it's all on your situation, right? If you give more priority to on learning, even for internship, you should go for it. I think we as a designer, we always find interest in doing some activities. Maybe let's say if I'm interested to know data visualization, then I will go for it, right? I mean, if you want to go for Delhi, you have to go to Delhi. It's that. It's that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I just want confirmation. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So yeah, feel free to ask your question, guys. There is nothing wrong or there is nothing right. We are here to learn something new. Yeah, so Bhargavi, maybe it's a time to wind up. What is your suggestion?
Yes, Madan, I think we can wind up now since we don't have any more questions. I think
Yeah,
we can wrap it up.
yeah, sure. Okay.
So, thanks everyone for taking out your time and being a part of our session and being so interactive throughout the whole thing. We really look forward to hosting you once again with another session very soon. Stay in touch. You can always visit our website. I've shared the links to our website and to our LinkedIn page as well. You can write to us and feel free to connect with any of us at any time, and we'd be really happy to help you guys with anything. So yeah, thank you once again for attending this session today.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Bye bye. Take care.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.